You are taking a look at patterning the swing. The most important exercise, or the best exercise to drive your metabolism, is of course a swing. So not everyone deserves to swing. You have to earn the right. So we need to make sure that you have some toys and some tools and some tips and some tricks to be able to swing a kettlebell effectively. And we want to make sure that this is not going to increase your risk of injury. We want to make sure that you have all the components within, your toolbox in order to get the best result possible. So let's take a look. As you've seen in the best exercise to drive your metabolism, the swing is an incredible exercise. So the swing is a ballistic exercise. It gets into the backside chain. It will help you become more explosive. It's obviously transitioning all that strength and stability that you have into power, because we're moving something pretty quickly. And it is absolutely an incredible exercise to shape and tone your body. So most people are interested in shaping and toning their body if you're a smart professional. But if you're an athlete, this helps you become more explosive. So tapping into, again, that backside chain, boom, that stuff back there, really important. And notice how my swing is basically a vertical jump. So let me just show you the end result that we're looking for, and then we'll regress it and we will pattern using what I call the chop pop. So the chop pop is a precursor to the swing. The chop pop is basically patterning the swing. So just like you want to, earn the right to load, you have to earn the right to move. So with the Turkish get-up as an example, we don't just throw load in your hand and you do the Turkish get-up. Nope. You got to pattern the Turkish get-up. You got to pattern that thing. You got to earn it. So you got to pattern it. Then you're going to pattern it with a shoe. Then you're going to pattern it, or you're going to load really super light, and you're going to earn the right to go from there. So same thing with the swing. Doesn't make any sense to grab a bell on a swing. Nope. Not on my watch. I'm going to make sure you can hip hinge. I'm going to make sure you have reflexive core stability so you don't hurt yourself. And I'm also going to make sure you can pattern that movement explosively. And I'll give you a couple other things that could be helpful. So let's take a look at the end result. Again, starting with the kettlebell, you're stepping back, chest is proud, hip hinge, you're angling that bell toward you. This is the starting point for your swing. You're going to hike it aggressively, and you're going to explode to the top using your hips. That is a hard style swing. Notice that even after 5 or 6 repetitions with a measly old 20 kilogram bell, it impacts my body because it's hard style. I'm making every rep as intense as I can. Boom! It's a hard style plank right at the top. I'm not relaxing my core, I'm not extending my spine, I'm standing tall, I'm driving my hips and giving you that power breathing for that explosive stability to make sure that I'm injury resilient and I'm getting as much as I can out of it. But yeah, that kind of does something to your system. So that's the end result. Now, how do we get a client there? Well, again, we got to make sure that they have a hip hinge. Let's make sure that they can give us that hip hinge. So you might have a dowel to actually show that. You might, hip hinge in a variety of different ways. They have to have a hip hinge. We teach that they need to be able to deadlift, and then we start teaching them, once they have reflexive core stability and they've done rolling patterns and they've gotten their core all stable and they're strong, then we can kind of get them into patterning the swing. So the patterning of that swing is a precursor to loading the swing. So take the chop pop once they have the hip hinge, and if you've got a hip hinge, you might want to then put a little load on it with a band attached to a lower attachment point and just grease that groove with the hip hinge where you can feel the drive of the hips. Once they're there, let's go ahead and make that a little bit more power oriented, and this is where the chop pop comes in. So you're gonna take your hands right where this crease is, called the inguinal crease, where your torso meets your upper leg. You're gonna chop, and your hips are gonna go back. And then you're gonna pop, and the arms are gonna flow out. So it's chopping and popping. Chop, pop, chop, pop, chop, pop. And you're not bringing your hips back until there's actual contact. Once there's contact, then the hips go back. And that encourages you to wait for the float, and it's the exact same movement that you're gonna have when you kettlebell swing, which is the exact same movement that you're gonna have if you vertical jump. All of these are identical. Pop, chop, pop, chop, pop, chop, pop. Once you have that chop, pop, you could potentially go to, and how we are taught in certifications, is to go to a pendulum and then go to, 1 rep at a time on a swing. I tend to like to then use a couple of yoga blocks, have them grab a super light load, go to the knees, and just make sure we have the gluteals doing what we want them to do. Standing tall on their knees, so a tall kneeling, hip hinge, grab that bell, and the key here, just relax those arms. You're using the hips and that backside chain as the drive, as the motors, and you're giving me the power breath, and you're just swinging, so you're hiking the bell. That's an exercise I picked up from Kathy Dooley, who picked it up from, I can't remember the individual's name, but that's a great modification. I like to incorporate that because a lot of people go right away to a very squatty swing. So now it gets them into the hips, gets them to feel their glutes. Once they've got that, I reconnect them with the chop and the pop, chop, pop, and I just tell them, listen, just envision that you're exactly where you were when you were on your knees, except for now we're taking the training wheels off. You're gonna take a step behind that bell, chest is proud, hip hinge, grab onto that bell, angle it toward you, and just let it fly. You're relaxed with the arms again, you're gonna hike it, and you're gonna explode, and you're gonna get into those hips. And you're gonna put that bell down with really good form, that deadlift form, protect your spine. And guys, that is a chop pop lending itself, it's the patterning for the swing, which then gets you into swinging with load, and then you can earn the right to increase the load with the swing. But remember, it's all about a hard style swing, making that 8 just as intense as the 20, and just as intense as a 40, and just as intense as a 60. That'll keep you injury resilient. It will help you improve your performance, and I hope that's helpful. So that's the chop and pop. Use it